Hey, welcome in. It is our week 17, aka championship fantasy football rankings. We finally got to them. It has been a chaotic week with, as you all know, the holiday season. So we're doing it in a abridged version today, but we are still here because we love producing the content and we want to help you win those championships. So I know there is a Patriots Chargers game going on. With a fun Drake May injury potentially, we will we can tell on that live as we talk about that. And this is with my Patriots co-host here, Jeremy Schulman. Hashtag no touch your Peterson.
Yeah.
Before we get into all of that, how was your holiday season, Jeremy? Did you have a good time this weekend?
Yeah, it was good. Had great time with the family. No complaints there. But what the hell, week 17, NFL, what are you doing to us? Putting one or two games every day of the week. Fantasy managers, hard to keep track. We're going to talk about this game that's going on live. And this as well, Jesse, helps nobody. What the hell? Ridiculous. Jesse, you know what else helps nobody? Antonio Gibson starting over Ramondre Stevenson. Not that Stevenson was helping anybody, but also Drake May in the medical tent and going into the locker room for concussion eval. I need him in my 16-man crazy starting lineups with full IDP Superflex League where I'm in the championship. Damn. Already on a Saturday, Jesse. Ridiculous.
Oh my god, I'm such an idiot. So Scott Fishbowl, I'm in the championship for all those of you who know. Darius Davis was available on waivers. I did not realize this. He's a kick returner. I already got to touch. This guy's about to put up 40 points today. Yeah. And I am tilting now on screen because this is life. Anyways, thank you, Jeremy, for joining us. We very much appreciate you, man. I hope you had a good holiday season, which we did. It was chaotic around here, but it was very fun, like it always is, with family and all the fun activities that happen. You know how that goes. Hey, just nice. So we're diving into these rankings. We were doing them at the last minute, realized some things were wrong, so we had to adjust on the fly to get it right, to present it well, because this is not the ideal version of how we normally do this. We normally record it, but we don't have time today, so we're going to go live because we're like the old Bill O'Reilly, F it, we're doing it live. That's what we're doing here today, folks. So what do you think? Shall we get into these rankings, Jeremy?
Yeah, let's throw them on screen and jump into it, man.
Okay, so we have these are our flex rankings. We're going to be kind of going through our top 100, doing it kind of bouncing around. You may see a player that is just listed out, aka like a Chuba Hubbard or something like that. These rankings were like all four of us, so that not all four of us have the up-to-date active rankings, but it is what it is. Jamie. Yeah, Stevenson. So fun story about that. Gibson was supposedly the starter. This happened earlier in the year. Same thing where they said Gibson was going to start. Stevenson with a monster game. Would not shock me if Stevenson does that again. Of course, I put Gibson above Stevenson, but I just can't trust your head coach. I'm just gonna say he's a liar.
And the good news about this is, if you're in the championship game, you're probably not playing Ramondre Stevenson anyway because you're not in the championship game. So
touche. Oh goodness. So if you guys are curious what our most up-to-date rankings are, because we're going to update them before start show tomorrow. They will be on our website. Go to fantasyfootballuniverse.com/rankings. They will be right there. Consensus. You click them, have our most up-to-date ranking, and you can click by position: quarterbacks, running backs, tight ends, wide receivers, flex, all that fun stuff. But we're gonna start going through these. Otherwise, we're gonna be here for 5 hours. Our overall one player is Saquon Barkley going up against Dallas. No surprise. Even with Kenny Pickett as his quarterback, we do not care. Saquon Barkley had a monster game last week. Obviously, it came down a little bit, but he was still great. You know what it is. Our number 2 overall player, RB2, Jahmyr Gibbs. San Francisco 49ers. Gibbs had I think he had 28 opportunities last week. He's going to see a ton of volume against San Francisco. I don't think we have any concern with him. I guess we could talk about why Jamar Chase is your number 13 overall player, and I think I know why, because they're playing Denver. Are you worried about Patrick Surtain at all? I'm assuming a little bit.
Only a little bit. I mean, Joe, T. Higgins is not 100% healthy, so that probably bumps Jamar Chase up a little bit. But Chase Brown could be utilized a little bit more against Denver as well. We know that Joe Burrow is capable of spreading around Andre Yoshivas for sure. So I'm slightly lower on Jamar Chase. I mean, the way that this shakes out is he's my wide receiver 6 on the week, right? But you cannot fade him beyond that. It's impossible. The man could go off for 150 and 2 any given week. We don't care who he's playing. But here, a slight downgrade. But, you fire him up and you expect the best.
Yeah, I was actually looking at Jamar Chase's stats, and in the quote unquote good matchups, he's had his blow up games. In the bad matchups, he hasn't necessarily had his blow up games. So I think you might be on something a little bit there, because he went nuclear against Baltimore, the Philadelphia one. Actually, he's in 2 monster games against Baltimore, the Chargers, things of that nature. KC came down a little bit. So I think you might bear a little bit. Our number 4 all play, Amon-Ra St. Brown, going up against San Francisco. You know what you're getting. We love all the Lions, particularly those high-end guys. It's not too much to talk about Amon-Ra St. Brown. And Jeremy, you would love Amon-Ra. He's your wide receiver 1, right?
Yeah, I think he is. It's just the matchup. Absolutely going to destroy San Francisco. I like him. I like JMO. You play everyone. They're going in there out for blood. Like I get the storyline of, well, maybe they're going to know that they've, San Francisco's out of it and San Francisco's not going to play and vice versa. And Detroit doesn't have much to play for. Who cares? Dan Campbell has already said that he's going to fire up all these guys. They're out for blood, basically, just to stomp everybody. Dan Campbell on Coach Speak is like the most accurate kind of guy. He says what he means and he does what he says. So, fire up Amon-Ra and everybody in Detroit.
Yeah, unlike some other head coaches, like we can trust him, so you know what you're getting out of him. We'll go through these a little bit quicker because I am moving a little bit slowly. So, our overall 5 players: Justin Jefferson going against Packers. Our overall 6 player, Puka Nacua, you know you're getting against him in Arizona Cardinals. Our number 7 overall player, our RB3, Bijan Robinson going against Washington, should be a smash matchup. Our overall 8 player and our running back 4, Devon Achane. Our overall 9 player and running back 5, Chase Brown, and our running our top 10, Jonathan Taylor going up against the New York Giants. And you'll notice our bias has changed because last week we were a lot lower. Jonathan Taylor showed us a breakout game. We saw the ceiling. We were back in on the ceiling. Let's go, Jonathan Taylor. Give him 30 carries. He should have a monster game. Now we're doing our overall 11 through 20 players. Starting out with Mr. Nico Collins. He already played in his game. Did not have a great game. He was okay. He did not live up to expectations. Okay. That's okay. You'll see the next guy there. Number 12 overall. Derrick Henry was a smash in that matchup. We got to talk about Aaron, why Aaron has him at overall 25. But you know what? We could live with that. That's a good ranking for him. It works out. Number 13, Kyron Williams going up to Arizona Cardinals. Our number guy, there he is, Bucky Irving going against Carolina Panthers. Now, we had the whole Rashad White situation against them. I think Bucky's going to be heavily used. A smash matchup. And they don't have Chuba. I don't really know what the Carolina Panthers are going to do if they're just going to sling the rock because that running back room is Mike Boone and Raheem Blackshear. I don't think they're going to count that. So maybe Bryce Young gets a little bit of a boost. So I'm going to have to do that for him. The next player, his buddy, his Batman and Robin, however you want to list these guys. Mike Evans going against Carolina. Mike Evans with nuclear against Carolina earlier in the year. He could do it again.
Yeah, he should do it again. Let's just talk about that game real quick. Bucky and Mike Evans for sure. But we've been talking about Payne Durham, who I just learned that his name was not Peyton Durham and that his name was Durham. This is the starting tight end now for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Jesse will start him in the Scott Fish Bowl Championship, crushing. So we're looking at Payne Durham, but Bucky, Rashad White, Mike Evans, Payne Durham. You can play all 4 of these guys. Sterling Shepard out.
Yeah, the David Njoku injury is not ideal. I will say that, folks. And I'm not pivoting to Jordan Akins. By the way, no one should be pivoting to Jordan Akins. Go to a different position. Go get Payne Durham. Like Max Payne. You want to flex on your opponents? That's what you do. You go get Payne Durham. So anybody that's old enough to reference that video game, yes, you can understand that. It's a select few people probably watching this. Understand that. The next guy is rookie wide receiver 1. I don't care. We can talk about it more. Brian Thomas Jr. going up against Tennessee. Tennessee's defense is in shambles. Brian Thomas Jr. should have a smash game. And Mac Jones, love him. You should love him too. Our next guy, AJ Brown, is our over 17 player going up against Dallas. I mean, enough said. Dallas defense is trash. They are missing guys left and right. AJ Brown should win again. Mr. Josh Jacobs, who is carrying team's championship. He should do the same here. He's our overall 18 player going against Minnesota. I know it's a bad matchup, but similar to what we talked about with Jamar Chase, you don't only fade Josh Jacobs so much. He's going to get a ton of volume. We saw last time they played Minnesota, he had like 3 touchdowns. I don't know if he's got 3 touchdowns, but he should have a good game. Overall 19 player, Aaron Jones, in the other backfield. He's going there against the Packers defense, like should have a very good game. And our overall 20 player, Terry McLaurin, rounds on the top 20 going up against the Atlanta Falcons. How do you feel about these 11 through 20 players, Jeremy?
Yeah, a couple of things. So those last 3 guys that we mentioned, we don't need to talk about Tampa anymore or Brian Thomas Jr. like locks. Don't even worry about it. Jamie's talking about Kyron, probably a lock to score a touchdown. I get it. You don't want to necessarily do that, but that is what that is. Let's talk about the last few guys. First of all, AJ Brown. I'm a little lower on him this week, as is Aaron. Great matchup, but Kenny Pickett most definitely, right? So you just never know. Slightly down on him this week. Josh Jacobs, Minnesota scored 3 touchdowns, but had like 66 overall yards or something stupid low against Minnesota. They really limited him. If he did not get those touchdowns, would have had a bad day. So again, slightly lower. You're still firing him up. Aaron Jones in a revenge game. I love it. I think they're going to let him do his thing and really try and stick it to Green Bay in more ways than one. So I'm firing up Aaron Jones everywhere this week.
Yeah, Aaron Jones is just a good player. And like against Green Bay earlier in the year, I think that was like week 4 they played. He had 27 total opportunities. He was really good in that game. We're not shocked to see there. The one thing I'll say with AJ Brown is I like him more with picking than I do Hurts because he's gonna see a ton of volume.
Sure.
He saw 15 targets last week. If he's seeing 15 targets, I get it, the regression, all that fun stuff. I feel better about AJ Brown than I do kind of the rest of the other pieces. Like with these backup quarterbacks, they hyper target the wide receiver one. That's AJ Brown. It's that simple.
Yeah, and that's like the CD Lamb issue, and we'll talk about CD Lamb a little bit later and how he's not playing for you for the rest of the year. But yeah, you didn't like him with Cooper Rush, but he started to get there once they built that rapport over a couple of games, and Rush was comfortable. Lamb had the heavy volume. He was even scoring touchdowns, even though you kind of pushed him down your rankings a little bit.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's interesting with Lamb, and then that sucks for people in the championship that were counting on Lamb. I know I had a couple teams. I'm sure you had a couple teams that had Lamb. Hopefully, people are able to pivot to solid players on your bench. If you're in a dynasty league, I just traded Amir Abdul for a third. I traded a third for him. You can make these moves in leagues as long as you have trade deadline available. If not, just go to player in a roster. Go with that. Should we go through our 21 through 30? Because there's 3 guys in the Bills game that I'll start about. So we have Devontae Adams at 21, James Cook at 22, Breece Hall at 23. All these guys are in the same game. We like this game a lot. The one thing with Adams is I don't know why yesterday Fantasy Pros listed him out. I know they were worried, but they were the one site that had him out. It was very confusing. I had 10 minutes where I was scrambling to find information on this, and they were like, "Oh yeah, he's potentially could play." I was like, "What the hell, Fantasy Pros? Why are you scaring me like this?" Because I have him in way too many leagues, and I was starting to panic. I was like, "No!" But yeah, if you have these guys, you're firing them up. With James Cook and Breece Hall, I think the difference between the two is Breece Hall should see volume. James Cook has been continually efficient. The offense is better. You know what it is. I think it's a riskier play for James Cook, but I want to say his upside is similar. I think it just really depends on all these two guys. Your guy, Justin Smith-Njigba, is our wide receiver 24. Did not have a great game. There was no one really that had a game. Charbonnet was a really good play. It did not work out. He was 75% of snaps, 18 touches. The offense was abysmal, and it hurt everybody in this game. So congrats to Seattle and Chicago for really just taking that entire game for all of us. So unfortunately, the thesis was right. Just did not work out.
Breaking news, a few things. One we missed and one that just came through. Tua is doubtful. I would say unlikely. When we get the doubtful designation this year, we're assuming they don't play. I guess that means, who does that mean? Who are we at? Who is the QB?
I'm tanking everybody on the Dolphins side. So we saw how bad this offense was without Tua, and guess what? It's going to be really, really bad again, which means I'm pushing everyone down ranks. Achane was the RB 45 without Tua during the timeline. Yeah. Tyreek Hill sucked. Jalen Waddle sucked. This one hurts more than most teams where I don't know whatever reason that Dolphins offense. So these guys are all going to fall significantly if he's out. I'm waiting to find out officially. And to your point on the whole Tony Pollard thing, he has the flu, so I don't think he's going to play. It's Taji's world. We'll probably boost him up a little bit.
Yeah, and that's why I kind of just put it down. We got our hashtags here. We're all in on Taji. We have been all week because the Titans don't know what the hell they're doing, but they're finally feeding Taji the ball for whatever reason. I know he's injured, this and that, but Tony Pollard getting all those carries later in the season made no sense when Taji was healthy. Finally, it's Taji's season. Pollard, flu, not traveling with the team, hurt. And with an ankle still. And is he even going to show up to the game? We don't know. It's Tajay Spears in a smash matchup. He's going to get all the volume, all the touches. I need to move him even further up my board. Right now, I have him as RB 27. That's 27th player overall in my flex rankings, so we'll get to him in a second. He's my RB 17. Is too low, Jesse. Where do you have Taji?
I had her at 25 before this because I thought he was going to play a little bit. I'm probably going to push him above James Conner. I will. So I have a couple of guys I have Dobbins locked, who's playing right now as my RB 15. I want to put him right there. So if I put him at RB 16, that right above Charbonnet, I'm fine with that spot. You could make the case you can go even higher, but we're getting into the Bucky, Josh Jacobs, Aaron Jones range for me, and that's a little bit too much. How high are you willing to push him? If you think he's not going to play, what's the max spot?
First of all, Bucky's my RB7. So what are you doing, Jesse? You need to get higher on Bucky this week. But no, I think right around the guys we just talked about, James Cook, Breece Hall, they're my 12, and Josh Jacobs 11, 12, 13 for me. Mixon is locked at 14. So now we're starting to talk between 13, Connor at 15, Brian Robinson at 16, then I have Tajay at 17. That's where I think he can move. He can move all the way up to 13. Potentially ahead of Breece Hall in that matchup. He's just going to see an insane amount of volume. He's playing Jacksonville. Jacksonville's better than you want him to be, but Tajay in the receiving game is money, and Mason Rudolph checks down. And that's really why you want Tajay. He's also going to get a ton. I would say he's getting that James Cook volume where we love, in the games we love James Cook. He's going to get those 15 carries on the ground, and he's going to get 7-8 opportunities in the air. Whether they're good opportunities, I don't know. But he's going to get those opportunities, I think.
Yeah, he's still only rostered 61% of sleeper redraft league. So you could, if you're desperation and you need some players, like go see if he's available. There's potential that he could be available on waivers. Go get him for the rest of your league, Mazu, because someone's going to scoop him up. Like that's just what they will do. Like
for sure,
you can't live with it. I was looking at rankings and I just moved. Like I have a hard time pushing anybody above Chase Brown because Chase Brown's volume is insanity. So that's kind of like where my cutoff is for Bucky. I'm like, I love Bucky, but like I don't know if he's gonna get like the whole Rachaad White thing. Like that's what worries me a little bit. So like Bucky, I put him at I flipped him, and who did I flip? I know this is great podcasting, but I flipped him, and I flipped him and Jacobs. So I put him at RB8, Jacobs at 9, just because the Minnesota game's a little bit worse than with Jacobs. But you're not mentioning anyone.
Yep.
To tell you the truth.
Tajay is now my RB13.
All right, so let's do this little like talk through the whole Miami Dolphins offense because Tyreek's right there at 29. How far are you going to drop Tyreek and the rest of these guys on offense if Tua does not play? Because I think that's the thing that worries me. Like, I don't want to, and like if Tyreek, well, we'll see if he even plays. I think he's going to play, but Scott has a comment here. They see what I expect Tyreek to be ruled out next.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so if there's information on that, we will find it. I don't know anything about that yet. As you can tell, we're kind of all over the place this week, so we're not as organized as usual. But I don't really want to play Dolphins player if there's no two. I should be frankly with you. Like like the H-N, the volume's there, but it's already super inefficient without Tua. Like I told you, he's RB45 without Tua. They cannot move the ball, and that's the problem. Which means this game could turn an absolute slugfest because it's Cleveland against Miami, and it's brutal. Like you weren't starting any Cleveland players really. Like Njoku was the one guy. Jerome Ford. I mean, Jerome Ford's gonna be my highest ranked player, which is just that just tells you everything you need to know. Like I'll tell you that right now. So if Tua does miss this game, I'm just gonna say just avoid this game. Like you really do not want to play players from this game, particularly championship. You want to be looking at your scoring sheet and you're like, oh, Devon Achane has 12 attempts and he has 23 total yards right now, and no one has touched. Like this game terrifies me. So I don't know what the over-under is on this game, but I would smash the hell out of it if it's even decent. I think it's pretty low. Yeah. I know if it's been reflected or not, but this one worries me a lot. So we can avoid it.
It's probably Snoop Huntley versus Dorian Thompson-Robinson if he even plays. If he doesn't, Bailey Zappi. Holy crappy! This is going to be a ridiculous game to witness. When Snoop played, he played 3 games, but 2 full games against Tennessee and New England. Not exactly a murderer's row. 0 touchdowns in those 2 games, 1 interception. He's doing kind of it's not even Anthony Richardson. It's like the Spencer Rattler experience. Yeah. He can get you a little bit on the ground. He's unlikely to throw a touchdown. But this hurts Jonnu. Like that's a problem in fantasy week, in championship week. This hurts, like you said, Tyreek Hill if he plays, and it really hurts Achane. They're not going to be able to move the ball. My dog is farting something nasty in the background. That is disgusting. As I'm speaking, it's just all in my mouth. This is terrible. But this is exactly how what we're talking about here. It is a problem. But my dog busting ass is appropriate because this game is going to bust ass all over your fantasy lineups. If you have to play Jonnu, play Jonnu. But if oh God, Achane really hurts. I lost in one of my championship matchups. I just lost Hubbard. I had to replace him with Amir Abdullah, and now Achane, I have to play him. But like, what the hell? Like this team was Christian McCaffrey, Hubbard and Achane, and I was rolling with all my wide receivers and feeling good. Crap, I don't think I'm gonna win. It's rough.
Yeah, there's so in my home league, there's a team that's an absolute juggernaut. Like they're about as well put together a team as you could possibly put together. Yeah. they're getting murdered this week, and they are tilting their head off. Like, because the thing of the guy that's playing him has HN, and I'm gonna legit message him after the show, be like, do not play HN. Like, I'm just gonna be like, take him out of your lineups.
Scott,
I mean,
we're
if my
not
dealing
with Airbud. We're not dealing with Airbud over here, man.
Can he play some ball? Yeah, get him out there.
Yeah.
Just go do some magical stuff. Put the cape on him, super Airbud.
Opposable thumbs are important for the game, but yeah, like good lord.
You like Jonnu can survive because tight end's so bad, but like even that, like it's rough, right? It's not gonna be that many pass steps. You look at Tyler Huntley in the offense and then Dorian Thompson Robinson, like it's a disaster that way. So that's why it's like, yeah, well, I'm not sure what to do with Jonnu. That's the one that I'm gonna struggle the most with because he's been so good and been consistent in that offense. Like it's like, and a lot of these tight ends, like there's not really good tight ends available on waivers. So that's the hard part, I think, of John Smith in particular.
Yeah,
because he's I have a top 4 tight end this week. But like, are you gonna play like we talk about Brenton Strange, Payne Durham? I think I'd rather try Jonnu and just go with it, right? And just see how it happens.
Yeah,
you could do it. Yeah, like, and I mean, are you really Kyle Pitts, rough break. Joel Johnson, Kyle Pitts, Mike Gesicki, all these guys, no. Like, I think you just ride it. Unfortunately, Jonnu's the one guy that you're probably gonna play.
Agree.
But yeah, let's get back to lesson as we were talking about. So yeah, way to just crap on our rankings there by Miami. We appreciate what you've done this year. It has been a Jekyll and Hyde performance for Miami. We'll probably see that in this game again. Cleveland's defense is still good on top of it too. It's not like a bad defense. All right, let's round out these. Lamikaki, wide receiver 25. I know it. I don't care. You fire him. Our rankings are all pretty similar. Brock Bowers, our first tight end 1, number 26 overall. We love Brock Bowers going against New Orleans. Should be smashed for Brock Bowers. Cortland Sutton, Jeremy's guy's been hyping all year. Why stop hyping it? Cincinnati. I probably need to boost that up a little bit. Like that's a juicy ass matchup. Our overall 28 player, T. Higgins, as long as he's healthy. I get it. It's a bad matchup. We do not care. T and Jamar Chase have been awesome. They will be awesome for you. That guy we just talked about, Tyreek Hill, he's going to be well falling down the rankings if he plays, if he doesn't. Yeah. And our number 30 player, Joe Mixon, unfortunately, it did not work out. Shout out to Aaron. He was the lowest on him. Aaron called it. We thought, it could be okay. No, that offense is a disaster. This pivots into my whole CJ Stroud's been the most overvalued player going in this year in Dynasty and Fantasy. Boy. If you have Stroud, you are not living life. Like some teams you probably had to play him just because of the other options, but man, like it was a good matchup and everything. Like it's Baltimore, they give up a ton of yards, and they could not do anything offensively against them. Yeah. So they need to like have a decision what to do this offseason. Maybe they move on from Sloak or whatever. But there should be some changes in Houston because that is just not working this year. So we'll see.
Yep. Hope it's not a big deal, but Christian Gonzalez headed to the locker room. We love the player, but we do not love him for fantasy because he is good. As a Patriots fan, we hope he just twisted an ankle, little toe contusion maybe, and he can sit out the rest of the game, get healthy for 2025.
Yeah, we don't need you locking up fantasy guys. Just take it easy, just rest. Right. Hey, Gerard Mayo, just bench him. Just say, hey, you know what? 6 foot out, man. Yeah. Our team sucks anyways. We're not doing anything.
Just rule him out. Scott, let Greg May go off.
You better like the whole Jalen right thinking he's still gonna be splitting work. Like, I like on a bad offense. Like, it's right. I would avoid him at all costs. Like, if Tua plays, unless Raheem Mostert's like out, and then sure, like you can do the whole situation, talk yourself into it. But like, if it's no Tua, like this offense is abysmal. It's the worst offense in the NFL. Like it's that bad. Yep. So like everything you want to do, you have to completely change your preconceived notions of the Miami Dolphins offense. Just go look at the games without Tua. Like you look at what they've done, just historically bad offense. This is why Tua is the most player there. Like I know we all say Tyreek Hill and those guys. No, it's Tua. Like he makes that offense go. Without Tua, they can't do anything offensively. So, and this is me, and I love Devon Achane, but I'm sure as hell I'm not going to play him in this game. So, yeah, I would say hard pass on that. There's probably other guys on waivers who will give you a better shot this week at better production than Jalen Wright if there is no Tua.
I'd also add that like too high has absolutely killed Mike McDaniel more than I think anybody else. It's just absolutely crushed his soul. Tyreek Hill just can't get loose. He started using him underneath. McDaniel doesn't know what to do. Tyreek's getting loose lately, which is good because he's a good player. I think despite Mike McDaniel, maybe they figured it out, but without Tua, it's done. And then on Cortland Sutton, just like let's remember that they're playing Cincinnati and Bo Nix going to Bo Nix. We had a conversation. Is it going to be Kyler? You want to play Kyler or Bo Nix this week? And I think Kyler hasn't been great. He's got a great matchup too, But the thing is yes, Kyler could run it in like he did last week, but Bo Nix, I think in this matchup against Cincy has similar upside. I want to start him. I want to start Sutton with confidence.
Yeah, if you're gonna go for the stack, I don't mind like shooting your shot and chasing the stack of the championship. Like it's very similar between these two guys. Like to your point, like they both rush a decent amount. Kyler's not rushed like a ton. He's rushed more in the last month, where it kind of be like he has his their Carolina game, which really raises it. But that's Carolina; they're just atrocious, so I wouldn't put too much into that. Like even Bo Nix, it's been 1-3-8-3. Kyler's been just a little bit more, so it's very similar between these guys. I have Kyler slightly above Bo Nix, but yeah, if you want to go Bo Nix and chase the ceiling shot, like go for it, man. Like you could do that. It's Cincinnati. It's a terrible matchup. So yeah, he's been better. All right, let's go through 31-40. Let's get this moving. Otherwise, like we always do this, we take too long on these shows. We're probably gonna do that again on this one. Overall 31, Drake London going against Washington. It's not to be said. So we'll get to Darnell Mooney and talk about the odd. They play a ton of man coverage in this matchup. Washington does. Darnell Mooney has absolutely smashed man coverage, so he needs to be boosted up massively in rankings. You should be playing Darnell Mooney this week. It's like 2.8 yards per out run. He's getting like a 28, I think 26% target share. He's been really, really good. Michael Penix, I think it's going to be very good against those guys. Malik Neighbors is kind of bouncing back to life. He's just getting a ton of volume. He's the number one in expected fantasy points, all that. Malik Neighbors is right receiver 32. You know what you're getting out of him. Next guy, George Kittle, our tight end 2, going against Detroit. I don't care. You just play George Kittle, man. George Kittle's too good. You don't fade him. Well, it's nice how our tight ends are back to back here. Yeah.
And 1 in a terrible matchup against Detroit.
Don't even matter. Like this is what we're talking about. Tight end gets real bad real fast this week. So yeah, you play your studs, so don't worry about it. Trey McBride. Yeah, he's our overall tight end 3. They're all right there. I really don't care between these 3 guys. You're really just differentiating on what you prefer between them. If you have multiple options to choose between them, congrats to you. You have a really good job. So it is what it is. Our next guy, Juwan Jennings going up against Detroit. Yeah, both him and Debo I pushed up significantly this week because they're playing Detroit. And they're going to have to pass it a lot. Like, they're not going to be able to run against this Detroit front. So, yeah, Jennings, Debo should have very good games. Jennings top 20 wide receiver this week. Zay Flowers did not live up to expectation. It is not his fault, folks. Baltimore did not need to pass in this game. It was Derrick Henry just running road shots. So, the thought process was good. We expected Houston to be able to do something. Well, they put up 2 points. Like, they couldn't do nothing. So, that's how it
crazy.
Goes. Yeah, I have a hard time with that because you're going to either you're going to have to do a lot of things to change that because it's only a 2-week playoff if that's the situation, right? Like it's week 15, week 16. Like no one wants week 14, the buys in the playoffs. So you have to change a lot. You can do round robin. You can do a lot of things differently. I don't like the idea of moving back. I think fantasy managers need to be more on top of it is the way I'll phrase it because otherwise you're changing so much about what you do. If you want to do like a best ball approach in playoffs, I'm fine with it. Where like the best players just play, you win, like teams go that. But I know people love to head-to-heads, and I know there's a significant portion of fantasy players that are not going to be like round robin. Hell no, I want the head-to-head matchup because I hate seeing a team that lose 160 to 165. Some team wins with 110 points, and I'm like, no, dude, get out of here. Like let those top 2 teams go. That's just me on my soapbox for that. But you can change
one
stuff,
more.
But I don't want to.
Yeah, agree. One more. Anthony Richardson is officially out. It's the Joe Flacco show. It sucks because the last time we saw Flacco, he didn't look good. He's playing the Giants, folks. Like fire Flacco up in super flex leagues.
Jonathan Taylor week. Yeah.
And Josh Downs is very, very viable.
Yeah, we got to boost Josh Downs. We will talk about that. These rankings are not going to show that, but Josh Downs is going to be moving up significantly in rankings. So the next guy is Jack Charbonnet. Charbonnet was a good play. It just did not work out. Sometimes this happens. The process was good. The end product did not work out. So. And I was talking about this on social media, I would say I would do the exact same thing with Charbonnet. I would play him again. It is what it is. Overall 38, Brian Robinson going up against Atlanta. Brian Robinson killed people last week. I know they're terrified of going back to Brian Robinson. That is the concern with him. But like you can see the kind of difference in rankings. How do I have him 28? I think I have him 28. That's really high. So I guess I'm really high on Brian Robinson this week. We will see how that goes. I'm probably playing this Atlanta. I think it's a good matchup. He should be good. Yeah. We'll see. It's just bad games sometimes happens. He had a Ramondre Stevenson-esque game from a few weeks ago earlier this season. Overall, DJ Moore, number 39, did not do great either. All these guys in the Chicago-Seattle game.
Yeah.
Kind of just killed you.
Rough.
Is what it is. It was a good matchup for DJ Moore. Yeah, the quarterbacks were really just a disaster. Caleb was not good. Yeah. Gino made a couple bad plays. That happens. Jordan Addison. Yeah, it's a win. Yeah, we're going to be going in that Rams game more than life. We're like, all right, come on. As you can tell, I have a lot of faith in the Seahawks right now. Jordan Addison, our overall 40 player. He's big, like under the radar, good. Going up against Green Bay Packers, I think Addison, the way that they shift coverage, he should have a good game for you. So you can flex Addison. I think he's fine for you this week. This gets into the whole Jerome Ford thing. We'll go through 41 through 50, I guess, right now. How are you feeling about Jerome Ford in this game against Miami without Tua? Does it shift your process at all? Or are you kind of in the same process with Jerome Ford?
It's tough because I don't think either team moves the ball, and that was my concern. It was just was it just 2 field goals for Cleveland last week? I think they got 6 points and they kicked 2 field goals, and that was it. I'm trying to remember, but Jerome Ford broke off a huge run. I think a 60-yarder, but then only ended up with 90 yards on the day. He did enough to kind of get home for you for what you expected for fantasy, but against Miami, I don't know if that's going to be there, especially with the fact that Miami and Cleveland are just going to be in this punt field goal fest of who can, hold the ball longer. The thing is, Jerome Ford and that offensive line are good enough to move the football a little bit. We saw that last week. RB17, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, like you want him to break a big play. That's kind of the whole thing with Jerome Ford because he's explosive. That's the whole problem. He had 5 receptions last week. The thing that last week is they played Cincinnati, and it forced you to play more comfortable than you're with because Cincinnati is a juggernaut offensively. It's flipped this week. If there's no Tua, it's like a bottom tier offense. So just be prepared. The floor is really low with Jerome Ford this week. Like as long as you're okay accepting that, you can take the risk and gambling him. Because we're looking at I'd personally play Tajay Spears over Jerome Ford, and these rankings are not updated. That's why I'm 62nd. I'm going to be moving him with Jerome Ford. But yeah, it's kind of a similar thought process and scenario where it's it's just low with him. The Keenan Allen. Yeah, Caleb. Caleb could have hit Keenan Allen on a crosser on 3rd down, took a sack, and basically cost them the game. Keenan Allen's wide open, and Caleb did not take it. I don't know. They need to figure that out. Keenan was a solid play as well. It just did not work out. This gets into our next guy, Garrett Wilson, the secondary option of that offense. He is the secondary option of that passing deck. It just is what it is, folks. I think people need to adjust in Dynasty. I don't know. We don't nearly have that conversation now, but Garrett Wilson's just been one of the more disappointing wide receivers fantasy. It just is what it is, right? And then that gets into Jacoby Myers going in against New Orleans. That defense is trash. I'm back in on Jacoby. How do you feel about Jacoby this week against New Orleans?
Yeah, love it. Especially with Aiden O'Connell, you got a little bit of that stability there. And he's been really good in spurts. The problem is you're dealing with a bad team. But thankfully, you're dealing with a bad team on the other end, and we got a fast track in the dome in New Orleans. I like Jacoby this week. I'm happy with him. And as you can see, every single one of us, we're split here. 2 of us, myself and Aaron, like Jacoby Myers more than Cooper Kupp this week. I think that's dumb, but not that dumb. I mean, Cooper Kupp, what the hell? We know Puka Nacua is going to soak it all up. Can Kupp overcome Kyron Williams and his volume level to be relevant for fantasy in this game? I think it's 2, if not 3 straight weeks where Kupp has had really, really down games.
Yeah, he hasn't seen a double-digit target game since week 12. He's been 6, 8, 3, 3. Yeah, he's similar to Garrett Wilson. He's definitely the second-tier option in that offense. I mean, it's not as big of a difference because Puka's just miles above. Give me 1 sec.
Yep.
That's. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. No.
Oh no, you go.
But I was just going to say that's the thing sorry, I thought you were jumping off. But that's the thing to consider here is it's Cooper Kupp, but then Tyler Higbee came back, played 27% of snaps, and saw 2 targets as well. So Tyler Higbee is not Colby Parkinson. He's certainly a lot better, and he's healthy. He's going to be integrated more. And if Kupp is already losing targets generally in this offense, he's going to continue to lose those targets. You cannot trust him as more than a flex if you have to in the championship.
Yeah, it's your point on Jacoby. He had a bad game last week. I don't know what happened offensively with that game, but only 5 targets. Outside of that, though, the previous month he's been really, really good. That just seems like an outlier game. I would just go back to it and not worry about it too much.
Agreed.
It's just it is what it is for these guys. We were hyping up Tajay already. We'll round out through this 40. So 47 is Tajay, 48 is Rico, 49 is Jameson, and number 50 is Calvin Ridley. Is there anybody that stands out? I'm assuming it's Tajay Spears, where it's the guy you got to play.
Yeah, it's all those guys. I'll let you talk about Tajay, but you left out Adam Thielen at 46. Man, Adam Thielen is going to crush. Xavier Legette might play in this game, not completely healthy, but we know now that Chuba is not playing. What the hell are we going to do in Carolina to move the football? We're going to throw it to Adam Thielen. We're going to throw it to Coker. That's the only chance. Let's
go. My boy Coker. He's back alive. Daniel. Yeah, we'll answer questions. We are live. So
throw it in.
If we're ever live doing shows, we will answer questions. Some of them are recorded. Obviously, we can't answer those. But if it's live shows, we're happy to answer questions. So if you have them, shoot them in there. That's kind of what we're here doing this for. Give me 1 second. You want to take over? I got to run.
Yeah, of course. So, Yep. So let's talk a little bit about some of these guys here. Tajay Spears, we love him. He's our RB18. As you can see, I'm a little higher than these guys already because I was not worried about Tony Pollard. We've seen him not practice the last couple of weeks and then play in the game. Now, that was set up to be the same situation, except he has the flu. He's not traveling with the team, and it's another smash matchup in Jacksonville. We love Tajay Spears. We're moving him up higher than RB18. I have already moved him up to my RB13. These guys will catch up in short order. So probably by tomorrow, Tajay Spears will be in the RB12 to RB15 range. And he's going to see the type of volume, I think, that we love to see out of James Cook in those big games where he gets 12 to 15 carries on the ground. He gets 6 to 8 opportunities through the air. We know Mason Rudolph loves to check down. They're going to design plays to him. And again, it's against Jacksonville. That defense is a little better than you want it to be, but it's not good. So you can trust Tajay Spears in that volume. He was getting the goal line work anyway. So you have to love him and you have to fire him out and fire him up. Rico Dowdle is RB19. I hate that. As you can see, my rankings are lower for him against Philly. I'm not confident in him. I'd much rather play Jameson Williams this week and just rely on that boom bust guy because he boomed last week. He can absolutely boom in any week in San Francisco in the secondary, although healthier with Hufanga around the last couple of games. You can't really cover Jameson Williams. This is turning into it's early in Jameson Williams' career, but this is turning into a Deshaun Jackson type of situation where he can get by any given week and he's going to bust for you, but there are going to be 40 to 50% of the games that he plays, he's going to absolutely boom. And he might even give you a little bit of a solid floor in most cases. So I really like Jameson in a good matchup as we watch Ladd McConkey get in the end zone. We love to see it here live. So we love Ladd. And Daniel, I will get to your question in 1 minute. The last thing is Calvin Ridley, same game as Tajay. We love Calvin too. There is nobody there. It's Tajay, it's Calvin, it's Chig. All are viable with Mason Rudolph at the helm. Let's look at this question as we wait for Jesse to come back. We got full PPR. A.J. Brown with Pickett. Hate it, but love A.J. Brown. James Conner is banged up or Achane with Tua. I know. So the question is, who are we sitting? 1 RB and 1 flex. I think you have to start A.J. Brown. I get it. It's not ideal here, but we still know that Philadelphia wants to beat the snot out of the Dallas Cowboys any and every chance that they get. Saquon Barkley 100% is going to shoot for, with I believe the team's full support, shoot for that rushing title. I think he's 286 yards away, I believe it is, on the ground. So it's going to be the Saquon Barkley show. But outside of that, A.J. Brown can get home. Jesse referenced it early in the show, Daniel, that A.J. Brown had 15 targets with Kenny Pickett last week. So that's something you can hang your hat on. This is like CD Lamb with Cooper Rush a couple of weeks ago, right, Jesse? Where CD Lamb was getting the heavy volume. We knew it wasn't going to be that elite production with volume, but it should still be good production. So A.J. Brown for me is a must flex in this case. The real question is, are you playing James Conner in a pretty good matchup?
Yeah.
Or are you going to roll with Achane without Tua?
I'm playing James Conner. I will go over the games without Tua, how Achane did, just to give you all how bad the situation. So Tua missed weeks 3 through 7. Here's Achane's fantasy points in half PPR. Week 3, 7 fantasy points. Week 4, 4 fantasy points. Week 5, 2 fantasy points. Week 7, 9 fantasy points. Didn't hit double-digit points any of those games. His total yards were abysmal. On the ground, the only good game was Indianapolis. He had 77. But he had 30, 15, 18 yards on the ground. His targets were okay. He had 5, 3, and 1. But, everything comes down with this offense. I think the safest guy is probably Jonnu, because he, in a couple of games where he was, in this role, he had, 5 and 7 targets. It's fine. But, yeah, I'm definitely going to shift to an offense that I can trust for it. And, to your point on A.J. Brown, the offense is just so much better with, Philadelphia, the pieces around it, compared to CeeDee Lamb, right? They have everything where they can still continue to be good. And A.J. Brown could still get a couple touchdowns in this game, even with Kenny Pickett. So I'm definitely playing A.J. Brown. He's got to be in your lineups. And then it really just depends, you want to do with Connor being injured, he might just miss this game. So it might be really easy for you, right? Mm-hmm. So I would just pay attention to this game. I'm not sure the start times of the two games, so that's probably the concern that you need to pay attention to.
Yep.
As I scroll through and look, when the start times of the two games.
But,
if they're similar start times, it's gonna make it easier. But go good.
Yeah, as you find those start times, just a quick note on James Conner and why you are playing him over HN this week. 20 plus opportunities in both the running and receiving game every single week in the last month. He's absolutely crushing, giving you the yardage, giving you the touchdowns recently, and he plays the Rams. I'm not scared of the Rams' run defense, especially that linebacker room up the middle. They're okay. You would prefer to pass on the Rams, but they do have a pass rush. It's like the best thing about that defense. Run on the Rams, please. And James Conner, yes, he's not healthy, but I do trust him over whatever the Dolphins are rolling out at quarterback to try and move that offense for Achane. They haven't been able to do it. And yeah, this is a fair point, right? They're out of the playoffs. I get that. How limited will he be? I don't know. I don't know if they care about James Conner going into next season. 29 years old doesn't mean they don't care about him, but James Conner's a competitor. He's going to want to play. This coaching staff is going to want to try and keep their jobs. I think if he's healthy enough, he plays.
Yeah, like Ian Rappaport was on Game Day an hour ago. He was saying he's set to be full go tonight. So like that, I guess you could read into it a little bit more if you want to. There's no indication they like anybody else in that backfield. Like, it's not like they have something unpromising. I know they have Trey Benson, but he's been nothing burger basically this entire year.
Yeah.
So I would definitely roll over. I would go with James Conner. I don't want to do Devon Achane if I have another top 20 running back, right? Like where it's just like the offense is so bad. Now, if Tua plays, then this is the risk that you take. But I don't want to deal with this tomorrow, having to pivot off of Devon Achane where I have a potential to play James Conner and he's healthy. I would just put James Conner. It's a lot safer. I wouldn't worry about it so much. I think the floor is better and the ceiling is potentially even better too. So like, I think you have multiple outs that would favor you in this matchup compared to Devon Achane. So that's the concern with Devon Achane. So if I have anybody that's relatively decent, I'll play them over Devon Achane. So it just sucks. Like he's fine. He's going to get work, but the offense is so bad without Tua. So if Tua doesn't play, that's the concern. So yeah, I'm going Conner.
And you're not going to know, right? Because as we talked about, it's Conner tonight. It's AJ Brown at 1 Eastern tomorrow. And then it's Achane at, I think he's in the later games, the 4:30 game. So yeah, for myself, you're not really going to know about Tua. Is he going to be game time? I don't know. The fact that he's already doubtful probably just indicates that he's not going to play the game. And Miami doesn't really need him to play the game, right? So AJ Brown, I fire him. I play Conner because you don't know what's happening with Achane with Tua. You play him anyway, regardless. And then it's AJ Brown for me.
Yeah, it's a hip injury. Like it's just not something fun. I don't know if it's the same hip that he just destroyed in college. Could be that we just don't know. So yeah,
absolutely. This has been week 17, my man.
It's rough. This has been the rough.
What the fuck, basically?
This is like it's an outlier year is what it seems like where everything's just going chaotic in the championship. I think it's going to be like that. It's just, I would not make any dramatic sounding resolutions based off of one season. Like we'll play it out next year. If it happens again, then make changes. But yeah, it just is what it is.
For sure.
So where are we at in these rankings? Where's the last guy we left?
Well, why don't we do this? Why don't we just we're showing the rankings on screen. We don't need to read them out. But why don't we pick a guy here in this next group or two? I'm going to pick Rachaad White. He's RB20 right now. I really love Rachaad White. I think Jalen McMillan has a chance. He's certainly flex worthy. But like I said, I love all of these guys. I think what's going to happen is Baker is going to chuck the ball around the yard. I think he did this in the last time they played Carolina. They absolutely obliterated them. And I think everybody gets home. That's Mike Evans, that's Jalen McMillan, and that's Payne Durham, who is the starting tight end right now because K-Dot's out for the year. But then these two backs are viable every single week. You can see we have Jalen McMillan here slightly down at 55 overall. We love all of these guys in Tampa. Baker makes this offense go, and they're playing a Swiss cheese defense, right? So you fire everyone up. You flex White, you flex McMillan, you play Payne Durham if you have to. I love Tampa's offense this week.
Yeah, this is the game Bucky went nuclear against them. He had like 25 for 152. He had a couple touchdowns. Mike Evans had 12 targets. The McMillan didn't play this game. He was injured. So to kind of give you an idea, he did play, but he was coming back off the injury, so he was not heavily involved. Sterling Shepard had 7 targets. K-Dot had 7 targets, so it kind of gives you an idea. McMillan's going to basically soak up all of those targets. It's going to be Evans and McMillan, and then Durham's going to be the third option in this offense. Carolina's defense is so bad. Like there's a good, like you hope kind of Durham falls in the end zone, but I think he has enough targets. So yeah, we can kind of move past it. I think they're all really good options this week.
Anyone you see you want to talk about here?
I mean, you could do the Jaden Reed thing. I don't know why Jaden Reed's above Darnell Mooney. That needs to change for more people because seems nuts to play. Like there's no way. Actually, I want to talk about Xavier Worthy because Xavier Worthy, like the breakout is kind of happening where it's very delayed. But if you look at Xavier Worthy, the last month he's been really good, and he's the clear focal point of that passing attack. I know everybody just got about DeAndre Hopkins, but so we'll even go back to the Carolina game in Week 12. It's 6 targets, it's 7 targets, 6 targets. The last 2 specifically. Back-to-back 11-target games. He hit the touchdown, and then he had a 9-target game after that. So, like, the last 3 games, he's been really good. That offense is taking a step forward. I think Hollywood Brown makes them so much better and explosive. So, like, this helps Mahomes out a lot. He's kind of back to being the guy that we loved. Yeah, like, Worthy, I'm definitely playing over all these guys. I need to move Worthy up. Like, it's just not even – like, he needs to move up, like, 20, 30 spots. So, like, I think Worthy's a smash play this week. Even though it's Pittsburgh, I don't care, man. Like, Worthy's not going to be lining up one of those guys. So, yeah, I really like, of these 2 guys, it's Mooney and Worthy for me. Who stands out to you?
Well, I would add Josh Downs. The fact that Josh Downs is absolutely crushing as the Patriots, I think, do something ridiculous. They score a touchdown. Let's go. Drake May is doing things. We'll talk about that in a second. And we'll get Mr. Green. We see your question. We'll get to you in a second as well. But yeah, you got to talk about Josh Downs with Joe Flacco now playing, and that's locked and confirmed. Alec Pierce, I believe, is back as well. So that's going to help open up the field a little bit deeper. It's not that we expect Pierce to have a great game or Flacco to de-bomb it, but at least that's an option that gets Downs loose underneath. With Joe Flacco, he's had anywhere from I think 9 targets was the least amount of targets he's had in a game where Joe Flacco was throwing him the ball. The volume will be there. You absolutely love it. Drake May is going off. I believe it was Demario Douglas, 36-yard touchdown pass. He's running all over the field. Back in Drake May. We love him. We can't talk about him right now. We can talk about Ramondre Stevenson. Whoops. 71 overall. We'll see. Unlikely to be helpful, but Travis Kelce, we were too low on him. Had a phenomenal day.
Yeah, like it seems like and this is the terrifying thing for the Chiefs because their defense is still like it's regressed a little bit. It's really good. That offense has kind of found itself. I'm gonna play Evans, but like it's just because the quarterback situation is so much better. Those 2 guys are back to back in my rankings. They're both top 10. I want both of them in my lineup, so my answer should be both of these guys should be starting for you because I have them as top 10 wide receivers. So unless you have a stud wide receiver or a flex player, they're they're right there in our rankings. Yeah.
So they're back to back. We have Evans higher. As you can see, I have BTJ higher. These matchups are phenomenal, by the way. Jesse has Evans higher. This is SC with Evans higher, and Aaron has BTJ. Play them both. Who are you putting above these guys? These are both top 10 wide receivers this week. I think you need to play them both, Mr. Green. Do your best.
Who's your flex? That's my curious decision because one of those guys could fall into your flex and you'd be loving life if that's your flex decision because Brian Thomas Jr. is coming on like a freight train. Like the I know Worthy already played, but like I don't know why you still on it because that was our fault. So whatever. But like you get into this range of players, like you said, Kelce, like that offense, like it just makes life easier for Kelce. Yeah. So then you have St. Brown, and then who is your flex player? Because that's the question mark I have for you. Because if you have St. Brown in your lineup, he's wide receiver 1. He's Aaron's wide receiver 1. He's like a top 3 wide receiver for all of us. You play him, and then I would say Evans, and then you flex Brian Thomas Jr., and then you just roll through. Because like it's really good matchups across the board for all of these guys, right? And like Amon-Ra St. Brown's just high floor weekly. Mike Evans is the boom this week against Carolina. If you look historically, Mike Evans has torched Carolina more than like any other team because they play a ton of man coverage. And when you play coverage against Mike Evans, he's a monster. Oh, you flex Charbonnet. This is we get in this whole way like don't flex the guys early in the week. This is why, right? But you know what? It is what it is. That sucks. So yeah, it really just depends who you feel better at between the 2 of those guys. Like we have them back to back. I think it's just better because he has Baker. It's just more trustworthy and that offense could score more points compared to the Jacksonville offense, right? That's kind of my thought process between the 2 of them. But like, there's not a wrong answer between the 2 of these guys. If you look at Brian Thomas Jr. last month, he has been a monster with Mac Jones. Mac Jones along with Brian Thomas Jr. Because look at these targets. It's 10, 12, 14, and 13. He's been freaking out of control good. So it's nuts. Like he's awesome, man. Like I really don't want to.
That's really the thing too, is like Mike Evans should crush. But Mike Evans has a lot of competition, and Baker spreads the ball around. He's good enough to spread the ball around. We see Jay McMillan getting touchdowns weekly now. We know these two backs are check down options. Payne Durham became a thing because Cade Otton is available. So let's just throw it to that guy. Sterling Shepard is out in this game, so that helps Mike Evans for sure. But you just mentioned the target volume. Mac Jones is slinging it. In his 7 starts, it's 6 starts, progressively been going up. 22, 29, 32, 31, 46, and then 39 pass attempts for Mac Jones. And he's putting it together and feels comfortable. Has not really played a good defense either. Oh, guess what? He's not going to play a good defense again because he plays Tennessee. In his matchup last with Tennessee, 23 of 31 for 220. Did not throw a touchdown in that game. But he also did not have that crazy rapport that he's developed over the last couple of weeks with Brian Thomas Jr. I'm not scared of Tennessee. I'm going BTJ, but you can pick anyone.
Yeah, like we talk about with backup quarterbacks and like when they hyper target the wide receiver ones, the CeeDee Lamb. This is DeAndre Hopkins for years with these quarterbacks in Houston. Like this is what they do. You're seeing the same thing with Brian Thomas Jr. You could, if you want to, I could vouch for fantasy points and how they do this coverage stuff, but we don't need to get into this too much because we still have a lot of players to go for. So it's a tough question. We're kind of on the flip side of the fence. I just say whichever guy you have more confidence in, just go with that guy. There's no bad answer here because they're back-to-back rankings, right? So
agree.
Judy's falling down rankings. Tank Judy. No, I'm not doing Jerry Judy. I don't know why Jerry Judy's so high. I need to fix that immediately. That's way too high for Jerry Judy with this whole situation. You cannot play Jerry Judy, folks. Do not play Jerry Judy. That is a disaster. Madison, I guess, do you prefer Madison or, I'm assuming we do, over Abdullah, but I think both these guys are viable this week, right? I think you can play them.
You can, but you want to play Abdullah. You want to play Abdullah because he's going to get home in the passing game. Madison does not do that. New Orleans, if they have anything, they still have a stout front. They're not going to shut down running backs, but they can limit running backs, and Madison is not a good running back, although this offensive line has been good enough to help the running backs who run behind them. But I want Amir Abdullah and his passing game chops. The fact that he could also be the lead back. Is Madison 100% healthy? I don't know.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing. If you want the passing down back, you can get I think that's what Abdullah does, and he had 5 receptions last week. He'll be good for you in this game. They're they don't have a ton of pieces. I know they have Jacoby Myers, they have Brock Bowers. There's just not a lot and outside of that in that offense, right? So it kind of revolves around those two guys. These running backs are going to split back and forth a little bit. It's really game script dependent. So, and then if they get down, which I don't think they'll get down against New Orleans because New Orleans is really, really bad, right? And they can't do much offensively. So, but you could see a similar output where, one of these guys gets a touchdown, they have the blow game because Abdullah got the touchdown last week. That's how he got the big score. It's just, I think they're both fine. You want to flex them both. It's solid. And to your point, Mr. Green, I would not do that just because
Agree.
I did that. So I did this thing with the whole Brian Thomas Jr. last week. I put him in my flex above Drake May because they're playing Buffalo. And it worked out because Brian Thomas Jr. had 25 fantasy points. Drake May did not. But I feel better about Kyler than I did about Drake May last week. So it's just so much easier. The floor is a lot higher with the Kyler.
Mm-hmm.
What is he going to get? At least probably 14 points in this game.
At least
the floor, right? So it's harder for Evans to get there. So with these quarterbacks and in 4-point passing touchdowns, it's a little bit lower, but the floor is just so much higher for quarterbacks, particularly rushing quarterbacks. And Kyler, who has a decent matchup this week, I wouldn't go that far with it. It's just sometimes you just have to bench a really good player, and that's kind of what you have to do this week, which sucks. Yeah. It is what it is. So yeah, it's just, I personally would not do that.
Okay,
what happened?
I'm watching this game. Justin Herbert's leading the team down with less than a minute left. It's got 23 seconds, but it's 4th and 3. They should kick the field goal. We'll see what happens. I'm guessing 20-3. Let's wrap this show up, Jesse, because we're coming on an hour. And if you can see our rankings here, Rome, he scored a touchdown. They took it away on penalty. So that didn't work out for anybody. QJ, we'll see how he does in the second half here. They don't need him because they're going to continue.
Look at our James Conner rankings.
Yeah, James Conner.
Yeah, those are being adjusted, folks. They're not accurate. People thought he was not going to.
Not all of them. Not all of them are being adjusted. Some of them are right where they should be. But assuming he plays.
Yes, that was the whole thought process. I thought he was going to be out, so that's why my ranking is astronomical.
I will ask you this question, Jesse. In terms of these tight ends here, we got Chig. Forget Dalton Schultz. I don't know why he's that high. We got Chig. We got Tucker Kraft. We got Hunter Henry in this game, so you can't play him. But Chig or Kraft, I think, is an interesting question. Chig has been getting ridiculous volume. I think he got 9 targets last week from Mason Rudolph. The week before, he was viable. Do you want Chig or do you want Kraft in this week?
I always chase targets tight end. And I'm chasing that with Chig. The offense, the last couple weeks, he's been getting a ton of first read looks on top of it, where Kraft, you're really counting for a touchdown. So if you want to shoot a touchdown shot, sure.
For sure.
But like the floor is just so much higher with Chig because he's getting double charge and all that fun stuff. So for me, it's Chig and then to tier down to Kraft. So that's kind of how I view these two guys. Where are you kind of at with them?
Yep. Same exact spot. And Hunter Henry for me, no thank you. He's playing in this game, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, Tucker Kraft, I like the idea of him scoring a touchdown against Minnesota. You don't want to run on them necessarily, so the passing game should be open. And I think a lot of guys eat here. The question is really, is Jordan Love going to absolutely dominate and have to keep up with Minnesota, or is Green Bay going to be able to limit them? And you hope as a Green Bay fan that they can. You hope as a fantasy fan that they can't. But yeah, Chig's volume crazy. I misspoke. It was 10 targets 2 weeks ago. It was 11 targets last week. And these are high quality targets from Mason Rudolph. He's absolutely lasering in those targets to Chig. He's only dropped 3 passes in the last 2 weeks. So.
Yeah, it's been really good.
But yeah, let's finish this out. These are our top 100. You can see the rest of these guys. Anybody here? I really like Jake Ferguson, Jesse, here, because we know CeeDee Lamb is now out. Yes, Brandon Cooks has been getting home recently. Yes, this team is going to have to throw the ball and figure it out. But I really give a boost now, actually, to all of these Dallas Cowboys players: Rico Dowdle, Brandon Cooks, even Jalen Tolbert, and of course Jake Ferguson. I don't want to play these guys, but in a pitch with all of these injuries, and you have to play some of these guys, I kind of really like Jake Ferguson more than almost every other Dallas Cowboy. And then Nick Westbrook-Ikhine, I don't like more than anyone else because I just think there's not enough volume there to go around.
Yeah, it's Calvin Ridley is the guy in that offensive pass stack. Like I know Nick Westbrook-Ikhine was like rolling 7s every week to get those touchdowns. By the way, shout out to you, Mr. Reed. Thanks for subbing. We appreciate it, man. Yeah, we're here to help you, and if it helps, that's what it's all about. And if we get it wrong, come tell us in the the process. Like, hey, you guys fucked up. Like, all right, you know what? Sorry, that was all red. You know what happens. But yeah, we appreciate you either way. Yeah, with Westbrook-Ikhine, yeah, no thanks. With all of these guys, we're in the range of players you don't feel good about. Like if you're starting Kincaid, you just know it's super risky. Like Zach Ertz is a little bit safer. Strange, I will say you could play Strange this week in like the tight end situation. It's just last week was kind of a disaster because of fumble. Old man coaches are very like, hey, you made a mistake, I'm going to punish the hell out of you. They did that with Strange. He basically was taken off the field completely. I expect him to be back because their tight end room is abysmal outside of him. So I think he's going to be fine playing this week. It's just I'd rather play more Freiermuth because Freiermuth and like obviously Freiermuth already played. But Freiermuth is the most mediocre, just not going to do anything for you NFL tight end, like in fantasy. So yeah, like that's kind of just what it is for those rankings. So yeah, I think that's we're into the range of hope and pray at this. When you're in the top 100, it's kind of like I need a touchdown out of one of you guys. And yeah, unfortunately, Tony Pollard, he's falling in rankings.
Cameron Dicker, the field goal kicker, is coming on for a 38-yard field goal attempt against the Pats. This should make it 20-7. We'll pause for a second. He missed it. No, what?
He made it.
He literally. They're saying he made it. It did not look like he made it, but that's fine.
It's like
whatever.
The TV angle makes it look all weird. Yeah, I've seen those before. I'm like, wait, what happened? That made it? They're like, yeah. You're like, okay, sure.
So yes, I think we're gonna wrap. Oh, sorry.
No, you're good. I'm just answering. Yeah, I'm playing Breece Hall over HM because of that whole situation with Tua. Like, if I have a decent running back situation, which Breece Hall falls in that category, like I'm playing those guys. So HM's gonna be like pushing outside of my top 20 running backs. And that sucks because it's a pure volume play where it gets in the ugly offense. That's where I'm gonna push him into. So like. I just don't want to play HN if it's no two, which kind of is where I'm at. So if you're dealing with the Amir Abduls of the world, sure, play HN over those guys. But like if we're talking about someone who's getting volume, like a James Conner or a Breece Hall, I'm playing those guys over him.
Yep, I totally agree. These last few names I'm scrolling through, I really like Devon Vele just because of the matchup, and he's a PPR guy. He usually doesn't find the end zone. I believe he scored last week, if not 2 weeks ago, though. So he is a viable guy this week as a nice flex if you need him. In deep leagues. Otherwise, I'm not playing. I mean, I wasn't playing the Malik Washington game before. I'm not playing it now. David Moore, I'd like to, but I just can't. I can't trust it. I much prefer Adam Thielen. Brandon Cooks, we mentioned earlier. Jesse, are there any of these names here that I'm scrolling past as I like ignore Kyle Pitts all the way down at tight end?
Yeah, we don't need to talk about that bum.
Any of these names you like here?
I will say Malik Washington, with thought process was without Jalen Waddle with Tua, like they involved him heavily in the offense.
They did.
And the only reason I was really big on Malik Washington was Scott Fishbowl because he had return yards and stuff like that. Outside of that, like I don't want to play Malik Washington. Like I don't want to go to my championship with the freaking Malik Washington like wide receiver 2. That sounds terrifying. So yeah, no thanks. In this range, you can take the upside shot. Ricky Pearsall, he's been a little bit more involved in that offense, but it's super risky with all of these guys. You're strictly taking touchdowns in any one of this range because you know the Tolbert's going to get a boost, right? Because they're not CD Lamb, so he's going to go up rankings a little bit.
JK.
Yeah, Calcaterra was involved last week. You could do it again this week, but I mean, it's just like these guys all have super. Hey, there's Payne Durham. What's up, buddy? Welcome to the club.
Move him up the ranks.
He's going up. Yeah, Akins. I guess we'll move up Akins, but good lord, I don't want to play Akins. Yeah, we've gone too far. And for this part of rankings, you know it's bad. Like it's like, hey, am I playing this guy or that guy? We're like, oh. Neither, none of the above. Probably shouldn't be the championship if you roll out Stone Smart, you know what I'm saying? It's what it is. Yeah, Bryce. I liked Bryce with the matchup already. I like him even more. Yeah, it's going to be shootout. They're going to have to keep up with Tampa Bay. Bryce has been good this year. He's had a couple down games, but like Tampa Bay gives up a ton of fantasy points to the position. So he might not get the touchdowns, which might limit him a little bit, but if he gets passing touchdowns, he can easily go to 20 points in this game because he's a little bit.
I have Bryce Young at QB 17 on the week, and he will be QB 16 if Tua doesn't play. You know, with Rudolph and Pickett, that's 26 and 28. So firmly Bryce Young for me. You have AJ and Saquon. Doesn't matter to me at all. You just play Bryce Young. Yeah,
like if you have them in a similar range, you can always chase the stack with it. Like I have Pickett significantly below him, so I get it. It's a good matchup and all that. You could play it if you want, but yeah, I'm at QB 15, and that's kind of where I'm peaking with Bryce Young. Like, I think it's a good matchup. He should be a good play this week. Everything is shaping up for him to be good for you, so I would play Bryce Young. Yeah, not bad. Bijan, everyone, I like it. He should be very good for you. Very good for you. Well done. It's gonna be a fun championship game for you, one way or the other. As my daughter is screaming banshee in the background.
Well, we got halftime here. My New England Patriots are getting absolutely boat raced. We hate to see it, but it is what it is this season. We're on to 2025 in New England. Hopefully we sort it out. Well, I want to see T. Higgins. I want to see Tet McMillan. I don't think that those two things are going to happen, but it is what it is. Even with Hubbard out, I think it's actually better for Bryce Young with Hubbard out. It's not better, but at least the volume will be better for Bryce Young and have him slinging around. He's going to have to figure it out. So
he's got to pass more.
Ideal, but the volume will be there.
Yeah, because you see the running backs. It's Mike. What is it? Mike Boone and Raheem Blackshear. Like those are not quality running backs. They're not going to force them, and like they're going to adjust the playbook a little bit. They will just pass more. And they're going to have to anyways because they're not going to be able to stop Carolina, the Tampa Bay offense. So, yeah, I feel better about him getting touchdowns.
Yeah. And that Tampa defense? No good.
No good.
Yeah.
They suck.
Yeah, let's end the show. What do you say?
All right, yeah, let's do it. Let's get out of here. We'll be doing it since I'm not sure if we're going to do our roundtable shows for already like over an hour. Like,
we're good.
We'll do our sit show tomorrow, an hour before kickoff. So join us for that. We're gonna have a lot of fun, talk about some players we're higher or lower on. We'll get all our injury information tomorrow, so make sure you pay attention to all the news coming out because this week is chaos. There's going to be more chaos coming, particularly if the thing happens, which we expect it to. It's going to shift everything. So be prepared, make you stay focused because championship week, man, you don't want to lose because you miss out. So stay on top of it. We'll be with you guys tomorrow. So it's enough rambling for me as I'm talking frantically. This is myself, Jeremy, #Tajay for the win all day. Essie and Aaron are somewhere. They will be potentially with us tomorrow. We will see. But that's enough. We're out of here, folks. Take care. We'll see you tomorrow. Listen up, closely, let the